Today's episode of Lawyer Interviews, we talk to Tony Iliakostas, who is a professor and IP practitioner out of New York City. We're talking NFTs as well as a famous Andy Warhol case about to hit the Supremes. Can't wait. Hey everybody, it's Reggie with Lawyer Interviews. I'm so excited. Today we have the IP professor, Tony Iliakostas. Hi Tony, how are you?
Hey, Reggie, very nice to meet you, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, well, we're so excited. And I'm personally so excited because I'm in IP litigation and you're an IP attorney. So we're just going to geek the F out today.
Yeah, this is like IP con right here.
Oh, yeah, it is. IP con, we're just going to roll. All right.
Exactly.
Well, now, Tony, you're out of New York City, correct?
Yes, I am.
And you practice both IP and then you're also teaching. So tell us a little bit about what you teach.
Yeah, so I just concluded my third year teaching at New York Law School in Tribeca. I teach entertainment law in the fall semester, and I teach IP in the spring semester. And I think what's unique about my me teaching at my alma mater is, I only graduated from New York Law School in 2014, so I'm only a few years removed from being in having graduated from there. And so I think a lot of students who are fairly close to my age find a lot of relatability to me because we're almost in the same age bracket. And in the same way, I find a lot of relatability to them because, for all intents and purposes, I have a pretty good idea of how the law school system is. It's not like I'm, 20 years removed from school. So right. I try to lament with them as much as I can, but it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I can't wait to get started for year 4 when the 2022-23 semester starts.
Absolutely. Well, and especially being an IP. I mean, let's be honest, IP is one of those areas of law that is consistently changing and developing. I mean, even Supreme Court cases have changed even recently on different parts of IP. And so it's very, very technology based. And yeah, you're not hearing from a professor that took their exams on, a typewriter or wrote them out,
something called pencil and paper. What the hell is that? Right.
Yeah. It's like, you want me to write? You want me to write? My handwriting's terrible. Well, we graduated at the same time. So were you part of the ExamSoft debacle of 2020?
Oh yeah. I think I have more war stories about ExamSoft than I could possibly imagine. I think there was one time during law school exams that ExamSoft overheated my laptop, to the point that if I wanted to, I could actually fry an egg on the part where the lid of the MacBook has that hinge. Mm-hmm. So ExamSoft, I don't know. I have a feeling it's like Skynet 2.0. We'll see.
For people in law, and we've got to find a better way. There's gotta be something else.
Although I don't know if you know this, but they've, I think, rebranded, I guess, because of all the bad PR. So now it's Examplify.
Change name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? It's like, I know what it is. Okay, let's just pull the facade back. We know what's going on here.
You can white box label that all you want, peel the sticker off. It's the same thing, and it's going to quit on you. And you're gonna have
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Well, Tony, let's get into some of this IP. First off, I would love to talk about a very hot topic right now, NFTs. They're trending all over, the cryptocurrency world, but also the legal world. And I'd love to explain to viewers, what an NFT is and why it's important legally.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, an NFT is a non-fungible token. And essentially what Reggie indicated is pretty much on the money. It has a tie-in directly to the cryptocurrency universe. So essentially when you buy, let me frame it this way. In the old days, right, even 5 years ago, or even further back, we would buy artwork or sports collectibles or memorabilia, Pokemon cards are like a phenomena. So you can even buy graded Pokemon cards. These collectibles hold an incredible amount of value. Just consider those items just converted digitally, because essentially that's how NFTs operate. They're essentially digital collectibles. Sometimes NFTs can have utilitarian purpose where if, let's say, you buy a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, you might have access to, let's say, Q&As with celebrities, or all access, you have access to VIP events, things of that sort. There are collectors where or collections rather, where you could attend NBA games. NBA Top Shot is kind of in that realm where you could buy an extremely rare NBA Top Shot moment, and just by purchasing it and winning it from an auction, you could actually go to a variety of different celebrity all-star events. You could go sit courtside. I mean, it's pretty cool what could come from it. But people then say, well, why am I buying a digital good for, hundreds of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars if it's not that expensive? What's the use in it? It's just digital. I can't even touch it. And I guess where NFTs really divide themselves from everything else is that you're buying essentially a serial number access within the, like a almost like part of the blockchain of cryptocurrency. You're just almost authenticating this good in the cryptocurrency blockchain, because it's easy to screenshot one thing, but it's something entirely different when it's part of that larger cryptocurrency universe.
Right. And it gives them like exclusivity or ownership. I mean, I kind of think of it as a situation where, say a museum is like the actual owner of a piece of artwork, they have exclusivity, it's no one else's. They can put it on tour or whatever, lease it around the country. But, at the end of the day, the museum owns it. It owns the rights to it and everything. And it's that exclusivity, especially in this digital world we're now in. Digital images are becoming very, very lucrative for artists, for people. And like you said, sometimes they come with really cool benefits and perks. And I want to go to an NBA final game.
Yeah, exactly. Count me in. And I think what's very unique about the NFT phenomena is people are, I think, buying into it. I mean, it is a fad, or not, I don't want to say it like that. I don't want to sound so negative, Nelly, but it is a phenomena that has just built up so much attention in pop culture, where celebrities, artists, musicians are buying these NFTs and they're proudly boasting it online. You could even convert your Twitter profile picture to have your authentic NFT front and center so that people know what you have available. But then there's the other aspect of it where people think, is this just going to be the Beanie Baby craze all over again?
Right.
And I don't think so. I think that there's so much good that can come from NFTs, especially with how media are evolving ever so often, that I think it's bound to happen that NFTs are here to stay. And then with it are the evolutions with how we interpret intellectual property law. So how do we interpret trademark law in the context of NFTs? How do we interpret it? How do we interpret copyright law in the context of NFTs? If could creating an NFT algorithm, let's say, be patentable, or could it be enough where it even falls into trade secret land? There's so much that comes from it that I think, as IP enthusiasts and practitioners and theorists kind of learn how this NFT space continues to evolve, we're bound to see those evolutions. And I think it's a very exciting time for the intellectual property world.
Absolutely. And like you said, it brings up so many different, the realm of legal possibilities, from theft of IP, trade secrets to, I even have a cousin who's just a fantastic artist, and she's posted even with her watermark online, and people will find ways to remove it and then try to sell them as NFTs. And she has to go to the owner and say, I'm so sorry you got duped, but this was mine. And, you're talking about, theft of images and stuff. But actually, I think that these verification sites, like you said, if something can actually identify whether it's authentic or some kind of authentication code, you actually might have a better shot at, preventing some of these thefts online,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other aspect of this authentication thing, if you will, is, you don't want to buy into a collection that feels fugazi. For anybody that's not from New York, that means fake. Or Miami.
Or designers.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I'll give you a perfect example. Unfortunately, I was a victim of an NFT scam where I bought what I believe to be a 3D collection variation of the Bored Ape Yacht Club overall collection. I don't have the money to buy BAYC, but I figured, okay, the 3D version of it seems fairly comparable. And the app that I had purchased it from advertised it as Bored Ape Yacht Club, and even used the exact same trademark logo that Bored Ape Yacht Club uses, but just added a little 3D next to it, but almost identical, the same. upon further examination, I came to find out that not only was the collection have nothing to do with Bored Ape Yacht Club, but Bored Ape Yacht Club only has Mutant Ape Yacht Club as the only extension of that overall collection. So
They
then
didn't
it
have a
gets like,
3D like out there available.
yeah, exactly. And the 3D collection was operating as a derivative, and yet as somebody who teaches the subject matter, it occurred to me that what they're doing is blatantly violating from the Copyright Act the reproductive right. You know, I mean, only a copyright owner has the right to reproduce their own works, and essentially reproduce the original Bored Ape Yacht Club collections into these 3D collections. And then, not to mention, to to create a derivative collection from that Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's another right that was violated, to then market it also as a Bored Ape Yacht Club collection, trademark infringement.
Trademark, yep. False
So much.
advertising. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm like all the things that you could sue for, you know?
I mean, thankfully, I only dropped $200 on that, and I did it through Apple's App Store. It was an in-app purchase, so I was able to contact Apple, got my money back. Then I proceeded to report to the FTC about, you know, consumer fraud, because in every sense of the word, this is what it was. But it just showed me that if I, somebody who has been in this industry for almost 8 years, fell victim to something like this, anybody can. So it truly shows how these issues of copyright, trademarks, and other IP issues within the world of NFTs are so ripe with matters. And it is the wild west in every sense of the word, but this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. Well, it's such an interesting area. And, you know, I do the infringement, you know, litigation side on trademarks, patents. I mean, but we're just watching it come in and watching all of the, you know, new lawsuits start with, you know, the old principles, but in a new digital form. And
That's right.
It's very fascinating. I know you're on the more transactional side, but you teach it. And so, you know, being able to give your students this heads up of the era they're about to enter. I would have loved to know this back in law school, but it didn't exist when we were in law school, because, you know, we graduated at the same time, but NFTs weren't a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Although what's interesting is just to go show you how everything like came kind of full circle for us. When we were in law school, in that time, Bitcoin was like just starting, like it was, and I had a chance to buy Bitcoin, and I turned it down because I thought it was just a black market scheme and all that. And
right.
Man, was I so wrong. So
yeah,
we might need to get a time machine, Reggie.
I know. Let's go back. Let's kill
exam student loans right there.
Yeah, kill ExamSoft, invest in Bitcoin.
Okay, exactly. What a great game plan.
Exactly. Well, I'd love to also talk about some really hot IP cases, you know, that you think are relevant, that viewers would love to know about, or that you think your students have loved learning about. So I'd love to ask, what's something coming up that you think people are going to salivate over in the IP world?
Well, the one case that I think everybody's eyes should be on, whether you're a law student or somebody that is in the IP industry, is the Andy Warhol case that is going right before the Supreme Court. It's on the docket, has just been approved fairly recently. And this will be Justice Jackson's first time actually reviewing an IP case on the Supreme Court, which is very exciting. But the premise of this case actually revolves around the series of photos that Andy Warhol had created called the Prince series. The story essentially was Lynn Goldsmith, this photographer, took a photo, nothing really special, just a plain photo of Prince. It was the reference photo that was commissioned on behalf of Variety magazine. So Variety just asked Lynn Goldsmith to take these photos of Prince. There was, I think, a few that were taken, but there's the signature one, which is of Prince kind of off to the left, and you see his face and all that. I think it was like for $400, so chump change for 1981.
Yeah.
And although maybe it might have been more, something more like $2,500 in today's era. Who knows? Right. But still, either way, still fairly cheap of a celebrity. So in 1984, Variety then provided these photos to Andy Warhol and commissioned him to create a variety of different screen prints that would be used for a special edition magazine on Prince. So that's where we have some of the iconic ones of the orange red variation of Prince. There's one with white and I think blue and purple. So they're like iterations of it.
Right.
Prince passes away in 2016, and then these photos are reproduced. And of course, Lynn Goldsmith notices that these are her photos. So she files a suit for copyright infringement that essentially escalates all the way to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and then has landed into the Supreme Court's hands. And the question is whether or not her transformation of this. Well, let me rephrase it this way: what Andy Warhol create? Did that qualify as transformative fair use under the context of the fair use defense and copyright law?
Right.
And I think what's important to tell viewers and listeners is that copyright infringement exists if there's a valid copyright. One of those 106 rights are violated. So reproductive right is violated, or public performance right. There are 6 rights that are laid out in the Copyright Act.
Right.
But then in addition, the person claiming infringement, so Lynn Goldsmith in this case, must possibly plead that the infringer had access to the original work and that it was substantially similar to that original work. Right. So essentially a 4-pronged test that is going to go, that has to be assessed here. In situations where copyright infringement comes up, you can assert a defense of fair use, so long as that use of the original copyrighted work was for criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. Right. So the question is, did Andy Warhol's creation of this artwork fall under any of those brackets? Arguably, you could say it's for criticism or commentary, but the heart of the issue that the Supreme Court's going to deal with is whether or not Prince's the Andy Warhol rendition of Prince was transformative enough to almost qualify as a new copyrighted work that is so wholly different and far apart from what Lynn Goldsmith photographed.
Right. And I think this gets really interesting too in the there is, new technology out there too, where we've even got AI creating new works, or transforming old works, and whether those are copyrightable, and if they are a transformative version of the original in their own right. And so I think that this is not just going to be a landmark case for just individuals, but we're also in a new era where we've got bots creating art. We've got bots creating copyrightable works.
Absolutely.
It's like, are they copyrightable, or are transformative works in themselves? What's the line? Is there a bright line? And so I'm excited to see that.
And I think that's kind of the fascinating aspect of IP law and something like this. It is truly open for interpretation. It's literally taking the derivative photo of Prince, cropping essentially just his head out and adding new color. Is that enough to qualify something transformative? One case that I actually really, really enjoy is the Google Books case that I think went before the Second Circuit Court of Appeals sometime around like 2012 or 2013. Judge Denny Chin actually had a really good seminar that I went to when I was a law student about this subject. And essentially the question was, is taking a physical page of a book, scanning it, and then uploading it on Google Books when Google Books was a big deal and you could actually read books for free there, is the transformation of physical media and then rendering it digitally into some type of screen print that you could watch on your laptop or on your phone. Is that transformation from physical to digital media enough to even qualify as transformative fair use? You can argue it is. It in every sense of the word. You're literally converting paper, something that's tangible, into 011000111, aka code, to then have it visible for everybody to see. And by the way, it's also available on the internet. So you're not even using physical media to print it on. You're using something even more grandiose than an actual physical book. So a highly, highly, highly interesting case. Lynn Goldsmith so far has won on all her cases. So this was an appeal that was brought by the Andy Warhol estate, the Andy Warhol Foundation for the Arts. So it's really going to be a last shot in the dark for them to see if they can in any way, shape, or form argue that this is fair use. And this could either go really well for artists or really bad. This could be great for fair use. This could be really bad for fair use. It's really up in the air, but I have my own opinion about the Copyright Act. It's long overdue for an overhaul, especially with new media coming out. But if maybe in light of this case, you might see an evolution of the Copyright Act where the rule on fair use is even redefined as well.
I agree with you. I think that, the case law, the judges are a little bit stuck with what the Copyright Act says, or even, the Trademark Act, or, everything out there, they're kind of stuck, so until it's rewritten, you might be applying this new technology to something that is so old and outdated and archaic that it needs an update. So I'm with you there. I think we need to change some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I credit to Disney, because they were the only entity that was able to get the Copyright Act revised fairly recently, with the Sonny Bono Copyright Term Extension Act. So I don't know, Disney's entering the NFT universe. Maybe they could benefit somehow from transformative fair use. So we might see the House of Mouse somewhere on the steps of Congress trying to say, change the Copyright Act. I'll be right there next to them saying that too.
Right, me too. Well, and Disney, they are fierce when it comes to protecting their IP. And I always, when I talk to clients too, and give them an example, I'm like, if you're going to protect your stuff, be the Disney. You need to shut it down.
Right, exactly.
So if anyone's going to change it, it's definitely going to be the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another question for you. I mean, what's it like teaching law students? What do you feel like from them coming out? I know that a lot of them have been going through school through a pandemic. What's your take on the next gen of lawyers about to graduate?
I feel so motivated about what's to come with this next generation of students. I should add that I am not the conventional law school professor. I don't believe in cold calling. I don't believe in the Socratic method. My classes are very carefree. I use a lot of memes. I don't use long rules. I create what are called super sexy AF rules as like quick ways to remember rule statements.
Okay, I got to hear the super sexy rules. Okay, let's hear some of these.
so in the copyright, if you go to the Copyright Act, they have like this long definition about what copyright is. But a super sexy AF definition for copyright is an original work of authorship that is fixed in a tangible medium of expression. The Lanham Act has a long definition for trademarks. My super sexy AF definition is trademarks are words, designs, or a combination of both, typically, that are used to identify the source of goods and services. Right. So I essentially create long paragraphs into nice, tight paragraphs that will make them understand and comprehend what the central synthesis of the topics are. Mm-hmm. And I really try to have fun with my class because they're students, they deal with stress, mental health is a reality, and I don't want them to feel intimidated when they walk inside my classroom. So what I tell them is I'm an anti-law school evangelist, in the sense that I'm not against law school, but I'm against the system that law school seems to promote of you have to be on law review, you have to be in top 10, you have to do this, you have to do that. If you want to do that and you succeed in that, please, by all means, God bless you. That's wonderful. But don't feel like you have to do that. What's more important from the law school experience is that you actually learn something that you feel like you can leave and take with you to the real world. And so I present an experience for my class where I try to make them laugh. We have fun. We go through really fun cases. I mean, just to give you an idea, I didn't have to do this. And I'm sure that law school professors out there don't do this. I can't speak to how many don't do this. But yesterday was Star Wars Day, and I created a whole pre-show where, with the Star Wars crawl, I'm actually going to post it on my Instagram later, but I did a whole Star Wars crawl and everything. And I had a lightsaber fight pretending that I was a Jedi Knight training my Padawans on everything IP, and Darth Law was coming in to invoke stress, anxiety during this final exam season. And in the midst of fighting with my lightsaber, I recited my super sexy AF rules. I used the super sexy AF force to defeat Darth Law, and that was it. End of story. But you see, like something like that put them in such a good mood, and that gives me so much joy because I love teaching. Teaching is an extension of the mentorship that I offered when I graduated. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot from working, in the real world and in just being in certain situations, and I didn't learn it from some mentor. So I want to pay it forward. And I think that teaching is just that. And I just love it. I really, really do.
I love that. And I wish I would have had you as a professor. I mean, I remember some of my professors' most memorable classes were a few that would bring South Park clips in, or My Cousin Vinny, and in trial ads, like, here's how to not do it.
Right, exactly.
My Cousin Vinny's classic. So you gotta love it.
Yep.
I love that you show memes. I mean, and that brings up a next interesting, fun topic when we're talking about NFTs and trademarks and watermarks, copyrights, all that stuff. Memes are everywhere. And of course, Instagram is not lacking for the legal memes and a lot of really fun ones. And I've asked you to come and share some of them. So we're going to try this. Let's try to share. Let's see. Here we go. Let's try to.
It feels like, I don't know if you watch Hot Ones, but it feels like Explain That, Graham. So if anybody watches Hot Ones, you know exactly what I'm talking about, except we're not eating chicken wings, Reggie. So we're eating chicken wings and reviewing these memes.
Right, exactly. Okay, so can you see this?
Yes, I can. Right? I can see this. Yeah.
Okay, so this says, this is one that you sent me, when you get accepted to law school and, you've got this whole box of math and you're dumping it in the trash and, tell me why you love this one so much.
I ironically was I can't believe I'm even saying this. My choices as a child and career path were so weird. It started off in kindergarten. I wanted to be a zookeeper. And then somehow it changed in third grade. I wanted to be an investment banker. And then basically after geometry in 10th grade, my math life just sucked after that. Trig killed me. Calculus, don't even get me started. So I said, you know what? Maybe math isn't for me. And then ironically, I get confronted with math when I'm trying to calculate punitive damages and consequential damages. And oh man, it gives me PTSD thinking about it. So I
love watching lawyers when it's damages time. We all just are like,
exactly.
We gloss over. We're like, I need my calculator. That's a basic math question. So I agree there. All right. And then this next one is fun as well. So we've got, a bunch of fun legalese words that were,
Yeah, it's a thing, I guess. People are still stuck in thinking that you need to sound super fancy to be taken seriously. Ironically, in my line of work that I do, we still have some of this antiquated language, although I'm in the game of doing photo and video licensing. So we do have language like, we license material worldwide, all media now known and hereafter devised. So it's kind of like anticipating that things might be licensed in the future. I mean, I'm not wholly against having some of this verbose language, but I mean, some of it's a mouthful. It just feels like word vomit. So I'm in the mindset, let's try to make it simple, but you can't train an old dog new tricks. So
exactly. We always say KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Endorse.
Exactly. There you go. All right. Well, speaking of, I guess this isn't Prince, is it? Okay, here we go. One of my favorites, our favorite, Lawyer Issues, who is an amazing meme maker. Normal people, yes, no, lawyers, it depends. Lawyers always laugh at this joke because that is our go-to when people are like, is
always
for that.
Always.
It depends.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like this has to go in the Hall of Fame of like the most often used phrase in law school, next to think like a lawyer. Like, it just like it is milked to death. It is honestly, it's a joke that never gets too old. But ironically, I catch myself saying it sometimes. So I'm like, oh, damn it. I said it. It depends.
I know, but it does. It depends on the facts. It
really does.
Yeah. It depends on the interpretation.
Exactly.
And that's why you pay a lawyer, is because it depends. You pay them to think through this for you.
Right. Exactly.
All right. I love this one too.
Oh my God. Okay. I cannot begin to tell you how many highlighters I've gone through in law school. Yeah. And like when the moment I would see something like that, I was like, okay, no, that definitely, this is the issue. So I'm just going to say, go for that. And then what would also be indicated here is under blah, blah, blah law, like it would just be a sea of pink or yellow or whatever will be on my casebook. Yes. So my highlighter and my casebook, they were booze for the 3 years of law school.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I like repped for like Wolters Kluwer, and I definitely ended up getting like a whole thing of like highlighters that I kind of stashed away from myself too. It's in there, and I was like, gold. This is fantastic.
Listen, one of my best friends was a Westlaw rep, and she would always get those highlighters. So
yes,
like,
oh yeah,
bring it my way.
It's so great talking to you, and I've loved geeking out over IP and memes, and I am so jealous of your law students. I'm not going to lie. I wish I'd had you as an IP professor and
Thank
media
you.
law professor back in law school. So I'd also love to tell everyone where to find you on social media, because your social media account is, your accounts are amazing. They're fun, they're informative, and not just for lawyers, for just anyone interested, and everyone who is in any digital capacity should be interested in your account. So tell us where to follow you.
Yeah, and just to Reggie's point, I think that's the whole point of my social media accounts. IP is everywhere we go, whether you think about it or not. And my goal is to help educate on that, whether it's in the music you listen to or films. And I definitely try to bring like that pop culture flair or trending sounds or things like that to the overall premise of my account, which is IP education. So you can follow me on Instagram at the IP Professor. We just crossed 2,000 followers, so I'm very happy about that. I'm on TikTok as well, the IP Professor, getting close to 1,000 followers there. It's a wonderful community that is slowly growing, and I really appreciate everybody who has supported the IP Professor up to this point. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever about intellectual property. I'm here. I'm all ears.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tony, for joining us today. I hopefully we can have you back and we can talk about this Warhol case once it just.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll play Monday Morning Quarterback when the decision comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Right. Thanks for joining us today, Tony, and thanks everyone for watching Lawyer Interviews. Have a great day.